to the Nigeria Leadership Series Town Hall, a proud subsidiary of the Africa Leadership Group, powered by the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation. We're so glad to have you here for this weekly virtual town hall, where renowned thought leaders and engaged citizens come together for meaningful discussions that spark ideas, promote responsible leadership, and advance good governance for our beloved nation. Hosted by Pastor Itwa Igodalo, President and Founder, this series reflects his vision, which is to promote the emergence of real, ethical, and accountable leaders for good governance, not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. We are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization powered by people just like you, individuals whose vision align with ours to drive sustainable development across Africa. At the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation, we believe Nigeria's diversity, our cultures, ethnicities, and tribe is our greatest strength. Through initiatives like the Ito Olajide Godalo Real Mentorship Program, project management courses, and the Civic Awareness and Citizens Engagement Programs, our School of Leadership and Governance offers stellar opportunities in leadership training, capacity building, and social development. Under our Community Development Initiative, projects like Feed a Neighbor, Feed a Nation have reached over 2,000 families facing food insecurity across 6 states. Our recently commissioned Hope Alive Fund is designed to empower and support entrepreneurship in underserved communities. In collaboration with civil society partners, we are building a coalition for participatory governance that works at the grassroots level to strengthen good governance and effective administration at the local government. We invite you to join us on this journey as we lay the bricks one at a time in building a resilient and formidable Africa. Please join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. West African time, live on Zoom. One. Pai, please make Mr. President co-host. He's in the room.
Warm greetings and welcome to today's edition of the African Leadership Group, the Nigerian Leadership Series. We're really glad that you could come and be part of what we're doing today. And today we want to really look properly at the issues that we were looking at last week. The one where we had Mr. Bob Destro speak to us about Nigeria being a country of particular concern, the US. What were the implications? What does it mean? And so on and so forth. And it's interesting that we're having this conversation today, that they're having the Senate public hearing on what the president has put forward of but I'm told that the issue of Nigeria being a country of particular concern was actually driven by Donald Trump himself, that he saw it on the news that there were certain killings going on in Nigeria. I think he saw it on the BBC or something like that. And it really, really began to bother him, and he drove the process himself, and so on and so forth. Although I knew there have been agitations here and there by different Nigerians over the years for this country to be a country of particular concern. What are the implications? Wild and varied. Indeed, Donald Trump says he'll come and he'll sort out the matter, bring the troops and all that. But it's not as easy and simple as that. Nigeria is a sovereign country. Another country cannot just come and begin to invade us without invitation. But nonetheless, there'll be issues of all sorts of what you may call all sorts of conditionalities, trade restrictions, visa bans, and all manners of things that will happen to Nigeria if Donald Trump and America decides to take it extremely seriously. There will be all sorts of tensions here and there. And if indeed it comes to an issue of now coming to physically trying to help to fight this terrorism, then we can take a look at that. It's a shame, however, that in the midst of all this, 25 innocent children have been abducted again. An innocent vice principal was shot dead. In the midst of all this, a brigadier general of the army was captured, and he was treated with ignominy and very, very embarrassing for the military forces. What is sure and what is definite, whether anybody likes it or not, is that there have been all sorts of killings in Nigeria over the last 15 to 20 years, very unlike what Nigeria used to be in the past. So we really need to take a look at this and all that. Whether the people are Christian or whether they are Muslim or whether they are this and that is not the primary issue. The primary issue is that we have been facing security challenges, we've been facing abductions, we've been facing kidnaps. People have been prevented from going along their normal duties. They have been displaced. Nobody can doubt that there are IDP camps in Nigeria all over the place, being funded by government, and they have been displaced because of insecurity. Some people have not been allowed to go to their farms because of insecurity, and a lot of churches have been raided. A lot of um, bishops have been killed. A lot of reverends have been killed. Catholic people have been killed. A lot of Christians have found themselves being killed. Of course, quite a few other people of other faiths, for one reason or the other, have also been killed or been attacked one way or the other. But definitely there is a directory and there is a lot of numbers of Christians or people who proclaim that they are Christians that have been killed. So what are we going to do about it? What do we need to do? What does Nigeria need to do? What does the government need to do? What does the average citizen need to do? What does the international community need to do? What does the world at large need to do to ensure that there's peace, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world? And if we're not careful, if bandits continue to get away with what they're doing, if people continue to be attacked by all sorts of people, if a lot of insecurities all over the place, we may have a very, very unsafe world, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world over time. So it is a collective responsibility of the universe where we represent for us all to stand and see what we can do about insecurity, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world. So today we're going to be looking at the opinions of different people and how we're thinking, what we should do, what Nigeria should do, what the government should do, what the armed forces should do, and of course, what the international community that Donald Trump is now driving should try and do for our sakes. We're going to be watching a few videos, about 3 of them are available. We're going to be taking comments from 1 or 2 people who have actually been in situ and who have been eyewitnesses and who have associated with people who have been involved in all that has been going on in these places. And then we're going to take a vox pop that I'm going to be asking Pastor Sonny if he's available. I think he's going through some family function in the village. He might be on the call. And also definitely Jumoke to try and help to anchor and bring us to a landing and to some conclusions. Let me say categorically that everything we're discussing here, we're putting together, we're compiling, and we're going to use it to give our own recommendations to the powers that be and to society at large as to what we need to do to make Africa, not just Nigeria, Africa, a better place. Let me welcome everybody again and thank you for being part of this. Thank the back office for the great work that they're doing and hope that today we'll have very, very robust discussions. We'd like to have a hard stop at 6:30 today, a hard stop at 6:30. I know that we generally have an after party afterwards and so on and so forth, but we'd like to keep to that kind of discipline. Thank you all very much. Let's go very quickly to our first video show. Thank you. The first video slide. Thank you.
The U.S. House of Representatives Subcommittee on Africa would hold a hearing on Thursday, November 20, 2025, to review President Donald Trump's redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC. If ratified by the Senate, the designation could allow sanctions on officials involved in religious persecution and restrict certain forms of U.S.-Nigeria cooperation. It signals ongoing threats to religious freedom in Nigeria. Senior Secondary School, GGC. Bandits attacked the government girls' comprehensive senior secondary school, GGCSS, in Maga, Dankosogu, Kebbi State, killing Vice Principal Hassan Yakubu Makuku and abducting 25 students. Maga have been targeted in multiple attacks recently, highlighting the persistent security threat in the area.
Thank you very much. We have come to that very brief analysis that's bringing us up to date as to what the situation is. I'm going to be inviting Pastor Edward, David Edward, who grew up in the north, grew up between Kaduna and Kano, has been pastoring and doing evangelism in the north on and off over the last few years, to make a few comments and give us his own eyewitness remarks of what's going on there. Then I'm going to be asking Jumoke to coordinate things going forward. Thank you very much. So Jumoke, after Edward, just come in and push the program. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Yeah, good day. Thank you, Pastor Itoa, and good day, everyone. My name is David Edward, and I bring you greetings in the name of the Lord, Most High God. Firstly, I want to thank Pastor Ito for the opportunity to be on this program and to share with my brothers and sisters our experiences, especially those of us who were born in the North, grew up in the North, and actually witnessed these killings. I think what has come up in the last few days or few weeks with His Excellency President Donald Trump trying to come in to assist Nigeria shouldn't be something that our fellow Nigerians should see as something that is absurd or something that is out of place. Let me remove the phrase genocide. The question is this: are there killings? Yes. Are people dying? Yes. So perhaps the phrase genocide looks like it's a war-torn language that has brought fear to the government of the day. But the truth is, people are dying. Our sisters, our mothers are being raped. Children are being killed, and children are being orphaned. I will give you just 3 instances, and I would expect other people who also grew up in the North to bear witness to this. I was born in Kaduna and from a family of 7 siblings, and I happen to be the first son. A Christian home, per se, but we lived in a community whereby in the 70s and 80s, there was no discrimination about wherever you could live in the North. I said, in fact, the next building to our house happened to be a central mosque, a Friday mosque, whereby they pray every Friday, spread their mats even to our doorpost, and there was no issue. We would go to church, they would still tell us bye-bye, pray for us, and they were even the ones that will watch over the buildings so that their own children don't come in to steal anything and so on and so forth. So that was the kind of relationship that we had in the past with our brothers, of the Islamic faith. There was an instance that actually made someone like me today to have made up my mind that I will remain a Christian for forever. When I decided to give my life to Christ in the 80s, I didn't give my life to Christ to become a pastor. I just wanted to be a Christian because I loved what the Christian of those days, Christianity looked like. Talking about those then who didn't discriminate. We had the people of the SU, the Scripture Union, who truly wanted to serve God. We had the FCS, the Fellowship of Christian Students, and so on and so forth. So I became born again and started as a young Christian, having fellowship, going around to share the gospel with people. And one way or the other, my parents also accepted the fact that, okay, there was need for them to encourage me, the children, to move on with our Christian faith beyond the Orthodox background that they had. But it's quite important that I make these 3 graphic explanations to us so that we in the South will appreciate the need for us to rise. I will say this, Nigeria is not at war with Ghana or with Togo or with Senegal or Gabon, but Nigeria is at war with Nigeria today or with Nigerians today. If you are in the South, Southwest or Southeast, and I say this emphatically that if you are not in the zone of affliction, you may really not appreciate what God has done for you, whereby you can move around freely, serve God freely, and no one is going to impede your movement, or you're not scared if you left for church today, you're going to come back. In 1989, precisely, there was a riot in the North, a very terrible religious riot. Many people were killed. I remember specifically that my dad then was in the office. No, sorry, this was 1984. I will come back to 1989. It was in his office working when news came that, look, they started killing Christians, run back home. Now, a man with 7 children, our parents in those days, they used to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 children. Compared to now, we have what they call it, streamlined to 1 or 2. Now, he was so confused that where will I start from? This one is in this school, this one different locations of the city. So he started running helter-skelter, looking for them. There was no telephone, no GSM for you to be able to communicate. And in one way or the other, God just did it that we were able to assemble. We, the children, we just started running to a place of safety. So one of the safest places then was to run into the nearest military barracks, not even a police station, because they had all what it takes to burn down a police station. So the safest place for you to run into would always be either you run into 2DIF or you run into Nigerian Defense Academy, wherever you could find any military installation. And they started running helter-skelter looking for us and so on and so forth. Where are you people? And so on and so. So luckily, we ran into barracks. We never saw each other until maybe around 10 p.m. at night before we started coming out from our hidings. We were very small. Now, the import of such an action is this. When these people kill, when they finish killing people, the ripple effects of this is not just, it does not end on that particular day of their actions. You see, it ends on children who are orphaned. It ends on parents, elderly people. For instance, I speak this with a deep sense of nostalgic feeling. My father never survived that onslaught. What happened was this, his BP rose. And because of that incident he witnessed, no man was ready to lose 7 children on the same day. He never survived it. As a first son, I was barely probably 18 or 17. I had to stop school. I started working to support my mother, who was earning a mega salary as a civil servant, to be able to help to train my younger ones to go to school. My mom refused that. Look, you have to continue. I said, no, mom, you have girls. Let these girls go to school first, be educated. Then I, being a boy, I'll be able to at least find my level in life and be able to know how to navigate my destiny. So I started working. I was earning probably, I guess I was earning 16 naira or 17 naira in a factory, just to support my mom and to ensure that all the girls in the family, my siblings, they went back to higher institution and to graduate. Now, these are the things you experience, you see. Now, number two, again, is this. You find children who have been orphaned. At times, a 5-year, 6-year-old girl is being raped, sexually violated. I have pictures, evidences I can show. Now, these children are left to wander around, no one to take care of them. At the end of the day, you could just phantom the economic effects of these actions on the society. Another instance was in 1989 when I left Kaduna. I moved to Minna to go and serve a pastor in the ministry. I met a brother. His name is Brother Dan. He came from Kano. You would always notice Dan would always, keep to himself and would always be quiet. At times he gets lost even during conversation. So one day we were talking and I just discovered I wasn't responding for about 5 to 7 minutes. So I tapped him, Daniel, what's going on? Then, he woke up and just said, look, Edward, I need to share some things with you. Probably be my friends for about a year or so. And he told me his experience in Kano, what brought him to Minna in Niger State. On a Saturday morning, he woke up and decided to go and see a friend outside of Sabungiri. And when he went, he actually didn't know what actually propelled him to leave home that particular morning. He said he had barely moved probably about 7 to 15 minutes from the house when he saw people running and telling him that go back home, go back home. He ran back home, and on getting home, his dad, his mom, his 6 siblings. He also happens to be from a family of 7 children, 7 siblings. You know what they did? They tied the children together with a rope, tied the mom, tied the father, set them ablaze. Daniel told me that the only way I could recognize my siblings were by the sizes of their slippers that I saw on their charred bodies. They were all killed. I looked at Dan and I said, Dan, this happened 2 years ago and you are still a Christian, you're still dancing, still jumping, serving God. If you did not backslide, I can't backslide. I'm not going to backslide. And that day, I guess we made a covenant, no children, like probably David and Jonathan. And look, we are going to serve God. These are kind of experiences that people like us we've gone through. We've seen the pains. We've seen the agony that goes beyond the glamour of what we think we do in the South because of the leverage of peace that we have. Another incident was this. They came one day to our area and we ran away. We all ran in different directions. Luckily for us that day, it was just I and my younger brother that was at home. My mom and my dad had all gone out, and my other siblings. They went to another house. They met a pastor's wife. The husband was not around in the house. You know what they did? They took his twins. He had a boy and a girl, 2-year-old set of twins. They took the 2 children, opened the well in the compound, dumped these 2 or threw these 2 kids in the well, locked up the well, and they told the wife, when your husband comes back, tell him that we came. It was that bad. The last experience, which I will share, was another experience in another part called Tudunwada. They got to the house, they met the husband, they killed the husband on the spot, but they told the wife to recite Allahu Akbar or one part of Quran because she could not recite it and she was pregnant. They slaughtered this woman, removed the fetus in her womb. Brought her the fetus that this one cannot be another generation of Christ. Now, these are the things we experienced, we faced back then, which I believe now is still ongoing. But unfortunately, our government has refused to admit the fact that there is a mistake somewhere. And one of the mistakes is the fact that, number one, politicians took advantage of the ignorance of some certain set of people in the North to use religion as a tool to winning election, especially because of the high level of illiteracy in the North. Prior to the introduction of Sharia law, to an extent, some parts of the North were very peaceful. And I want to give credit to, well, that is my own personal opinion, or to those of us who attest to this, that to give credit to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. I remember then, when these people came up with Sharia, he stood up as the president and said, look, you may not understand what I'm talking about. It's not about today. But in the next 15, 20 years or 25 years, Nigeria may not be the same as it is now. People began to say different things and so on and so forth. Nobody wanted to hear what the man was saying. People were biased about him. But the truth, what that old man said that year or that particular period as the president is coming to pass now. My brothers and sisters, killings are going on. Families are dying. The experience of my father, I can emphatically tell you that there are many old people who are traumatized, who die probably a month, 2 months, 3 months, some 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, long after these people have gone. No woman or no father will be happy seeing his or her own children being slaughtered. No woman. So the question is this: how long are we going to continue with this? How long are we going to continue with this? One of my take is this, and I put this at the doorstep of our fathers of faith. Our fathers of faith are yet to speak up as expected. By the time these people come, they don't care whether you are redeemed. They don't want to know whether you are Catholic. They don't know the difference between Anglican and Trinity House. They don't know the difference between Trinity House and Daystar. What they do is they kill. But unfortunately, a Sheikh Gumi will speak. The whole North will support. They will rally around him. But our fathers of faith here are withdrawing. They are drawing back. They don't want to come out to say, look, let's call a spade a spade. Donald Trump does not have to come with guns and with bombs and so on and so forth and with fighter jets. But we can speak with one. We are tired of press conferences. We don't want press conference again. It's not about CAN or PFN gathering and saying we are making press conference. No, we want policy statements. We want statements that are very categorical in nature, condemning this act. Open up and say, yes, Christians are being killed. We can't take this again. We need support. What needs to be done should be done. But unfortunately, what do we care about today in the South is, well, I'm much concerned about being a church that can seat 200,000, 300,000. That is it. My church is just about my church. These are one of the things that has made this problem to linger. I have pictorial evidences. There are children, some pastors, my pastor friends of mine, took out of the IDP camps, brought them to the city, abode them in their church premises. Those children, 2, 3, 4 years, they eat only once a day. No food. Those pastors call me at times once or twice a week. The pastor, these children have not eaten in 2 days because they are orphaned. Why? What's the offense of these innocent children? Because they are Nigerians? Because they profess their faith that they want to serve God and follow Christ? We can't continue like this as a nation. This is where we stand, especially those of us who have gone through this experience. We are traumatized. But thank God that today we can still stand, like Apostle Paul said, that yes, like Job said, that though he slays me, but we are still standing. So the persecution of Christian of Christian faith, no matter how it is being politicized by certain statements today, cannot be watered down. Ladies and gentlemen, you may think you are in the diaspora. That does not concern me, or probably, well, my children are here, and so on and so forth. But I do tell those who care to know that, listen, your place of origin your place of birth is not as important as your place of origin. Your roots connect you to God. Your place of birth is just a geographical location. So one day you may not need Nigeria again, but your children will one day need Nigeria. Your grandchildren will one day need Nigeria, or have one or two other things to do in Nigeria. So how do we continue with this? Last week or 2 weeks ago, or was it last week or this week, we had what happened in Kwara State. Kwara State, by the time you get to Ibadan, is just 2 hours drive. So that means these people have crossed River Niger. They are approaching. They are getting closer, even to the southwest and even to the southeast. They are approaching. And yet we are still playing church, playing games, and so on and so forth. So we need to rise, especially we believers, especially we Christians. Either we are Catholic, you are Anglican, we should speak with one voice. We should speak to our leaders. Let our fathers of faith, let them stand up and say what is to be said. It's not about going to the villa, you come out and you tell us we are one. We are not one. We are not one. There's nothing wrong if we are 2, if we are 3. 2 children can live in a womb, or 2 babies can live in a womb. 3 babies can live in a womb of a woman. They will live comfortably and come out separately. Nothing happens to them. There's nothing wrong with that. But we need to make this known that, look, we are tired. Our sisters are being raped. Mothers are being killed. Young girls, 5 years, are being defied. Yet elections are our leaders carry on as if elections are more important than the lives of an average Nigerian or an ordinary Nigerian. So let's give kudos to President Trump, because take it or leave it, one life is very important before God. A life is very important before God. Last month, Pastor Hassan of Adamawa was slaughtered. The pastor that was captured, the camp pastor that was captured in Michigan, he was slaughtered. They made a demand for 2 million euros as ransom. But at the end of it, it was discovered that they didn't actually need a ransom. They actually needed the life of the man. What was the offense of someone serving God in his house, in his room, and someone will barge in and kill the breadwinner, rape the wife, rape the children, and yet we are folding our hands? Please, I'll close with this, my final submission, that whatsoever is going to take for us to speak, if we have to talk to Europe, to EU, talk to United Nations, and let them know that indeed we need the support. The support does not mean America is coming to invade Nigeria. It might be part of ways for them to make these people to check whatever they are doing. We are all aware of the Rwanda genocide of 1994, but today Rwanda is better in terms of economy than Nigeria, because people rose and felt that certain things needed to be corrected. So I close with this, that please, let's do the needful. Thank you so much. I stop here for now.
Thank you so much, sir. And I don't know if there are words to express the kind of deep empathy that we feel just you narrating what our brothers and sisters in the North are going through. And I think the chilling thing is you started to narrate a story that started about 40 years ago in the 80s. That's one of the things that you mentioned. So thank you for sharing this experience. Thank you for standing strong. And our thoughts and prayers remain with you and others that are going through this. We're going to play one more video, and then we're going to take comments, and then we have a presentation from a member of ALG. Thank you so much. Afai, please go ahead and play the second video. Thank you. Is the second video queued up, or we should go ahead with comments? Okay, thank you. That's probably one of the hardest things to see. But this is Nigeria. This is in Kwara State. This is in the south. It's thank you. We're just going to open up for comments. I think this is just probably going to be one of those very hard open mics, as we've heard from our brother, and then we've seen the video. I think for me, just seeing that elderly woman that probably went to her grave with such pain is one of the hardest things that I, as a person, would ever see. And these are people that see it on a daily basis. They went to church. It wasn't night vigil. It was during the day. It was bright, probably midweek service or something. And a lot of them did not come out. And they are still in captivity. These are Nigerians. They were not even where they were not supposed to be. They were worshiping. I have one hand up. And we'll take some comments now, and then we would also think there's a third video, and then we have a presentation. We have two presentations. Please go ahead, Mr. Boniface. We've asked you to unmute.
Okay. All right. Jumoke, thank you very much. You know, it's very depressing, seeing what is happening. You know, sometimes you want to empathize and see yourself living in that sort of situation. And we are deluding ourselves. We are saying that it's not genocide. What is genocide? People are being targeted for no other reason but for their faith, and are being targeted by a particular group. And then we're saying, let's not even waste time on, the terms and nomenclatures and so on and so forth. But it's a terrible situation. And I think something has to give. Something doesn't give. We cannot continue to live like this. This country cannot make any progress at this rate. We can't. It can't. The thing is that fundamentally, the bandits, the terrorists, will have to be cleared. And I have been saying this on this platform. Now, who's going to clear them? Those who are going to clear them, they have sympathies for them. They are kids and kin. They don't have the courage to go ahead and do that. And so that's a dilemma. And the earlier the Christian community woke up to this, I think the solution is that really we should begin to have real confederation in this country. Confederation, where each part, let's have a loose center, and let each part go and develop at their own pace. That's the solution. What's happening now is not acceptable. I grew up in the North. It wasn't like that in the North. I was born in the North. We all lived peaceably. We were not fighting ourselves. Muslims, now it's being weaponized. They started with this Sharia, something that shouldn't be in the constitution, because Nigeria is not, we're not a theocratic state. We're not supposed to have a national religion. And the Muslims, I'm sorry to say, particularly the certain group, certain tribe, they have this entitlement mentality all over the world. And once you do something, you say something, you guess Allah, the Quran, and so on, they want to take your life. Allah is able to fight for himself. We don't have to fight for God if he's God. So I think, Jumoke, I think it's a terrible situation. We have to look at it. People are kidnapped. What we have been told that soldiers that were sent to go and rescue them, 80% were killed, including a brigadier in this country. And nobody's saying anything. Nobody's saying anything. As for a change, at least the president is not saying he's going to cancel. He has canceled the trip. It wasn't gone. So thanks to Donald Trump, I think that we should beg Donald Trump to come. Honestly, if we don't know what we are doing, this is an opportunity for us. Those who have access to Donald Trump should ask him to come. He doesn't have to come with boots on the ground. I said that. I put out a post. I did say so. Let them use satellite imagery, identify where they are, send unmanned drones, and do the job for us. We have insecurity. You can't travel on the roads, even in the South. You can't. So I think it's a terrible thing. And let's not play the ostrich and pretend that it's all going to get better. I have hope in this country. I have no other country and I belong to, but what's happening now is not sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Anthony, please go ahead and speak. We've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Yes.
Hello.
We can hear you now, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, good. Yeah, so like the other speaker said, the Christians have to wake up. The president of the country, our systems in Nigeria are completely infiltrated. It's obvious. If you listen to past generals, the comments made by retired generals and those in government circles, you find out that there's a jihad going on. It's obvious. And the intent is to turn Nigeria into an Islamic country. The enemies, the primary enemies of Nigeria are Nigerians within Nigeria. They talk about external enemies. Yes, they do exist, but without the internal enemies, the external enemies will have no means to penetrate Nigeria. Now, with respect to Donald Trump and his action or intended action against Nigeria, it is strictly to the terrorists. So anybody talking now about, sovereign state, Muslim, Christian, it's all in a bid to confuse the population if we're that stupid. All Donald Trump is saying is very simple. President Tinubu and your government, do the work that normal governments do. Rally your people to fight the terrorists. If you don't, we're not going to put up with this. We're coming to take out the terrorists. It's as simple as that. If anybody's saying anything else, Americans are coming to invade Nigeria. This is about coming to fight Muslims. That's all BS, completely. You know, we're not fools. This is 2025. These guys are cowards, actually, if you ask me. They are cowards. Because if you arm Nigerians, in 3 to 6 months, this whole terrorism thing will disappear. They could not be more determined than people who are trying to defend their homeland. But unfortunately, from the days of Buhari, there's been so many allegations that he brought them in. The bottom line is, it appears the government is tying the hands of the people. I'm in America. You can't kick a dog in Manhattan. You can't. To kick a dog, you cannot. You'll be arrested. But in Nigeria, you could kill 200 people, and all you hear are excuses about herders-farmers clashes, about communal clashes. Even wild animals in the bush, mammals, wild animals, they have natural defensive mechanisms. You can attack a pack of wild dogs. You can attack a pack of hyenas. You can attack a pack of wolves or a pack of lions. They have natural defensive mechanisms. Are we supposed to be civilized? So it's time for us to know that, you know what? Like retired General Danjuma said, if we don't do what we have to do to defend ourselves from these savages, they will kill us all one by one. That's a fact. So we're hoping that Donald Trump would, act on his words. Since they can't wait to go to heaven, that he will sustain the mission to take out the terrorists. Americans could do that. We have the firepower. And they have AK-47s. We have missiles in America.
Thank you,
and we'll see what happens. So please, do not be fooled by any of the idiots out there. Lying to you, lies, more lies, and even more lies. We're sick and tired of it.
Thank you.
It's time to take care of business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's good to have you back on the platform. It's been a long time. So good to hear from you. I'm going to ask Mr. Emmanuel Audu and Auntie Yemisi to speak, and then we would have another video before we go to presentation by Peter Eze. Please go ahead. Mr. Audu, Emmanuel Audu, we've asked you to unmute.
Yeah. Okay, good evening, Pastor and everyone. It's my pleasure to be here, and I continue to thank you for this forum. To lend my voice to this conversation, it's sad, really, for us as a country, especially us as Christians, that these things are allowed to happen. A few weeks ago, I published an article that I titled Genocide in Nigeria, Beyond the Framing. It's not a question of labeling it. We don't need foreigners to tell us what has been happening in the country for the past 10 years. All of us are living witnesses. But even if we say, oh, we want to be patriotic, we don't want to name it. Anyone who wants to make an argument has enough evidence to make an argument to support either genocide, Christian genocide, or even otherwise. But the important thing remains, who are the people killing these people? The people being killed, Christians or Muslims, are they not Nigerians? And what is the function, the primary function of the government, as laid down in the numero uno? Is to save lives and properties of its citizens. This thing is happening in a scale that only God knows how much. It's sad that even the proponents of this government, the stakeholders of this government, I was watching the foreign minister on a Piers Morgan show recently, where Piers Morgan asked him, okay, you are saying it's not 50,000. Do you have your statistics. And the man actually said that in 5 years, only 107 people have been killed. I was sad that a minister could say that. Even people that have died of natural causes will be more than that number. So we can go on and on, but what do? We must not keep quiet. The Donald Trump's intervention, well, the government is even inviting Donald Trump more than any other person. They sent people to the US to lobby. Just a few days ago, the STF was actually accusing Donald Trump of causing more insecurity in Nigeria. What do they want? But as for us as Christians and citizens, we need to continue to call out. We need to continue to speak out. We need to write as much as we can against what is going on in Nigeria. I'll take an example. When the June 12th election was annulled, from that period till 1999, when we now had the civilian rule, there was no day you picked a newspaper that you would not see an article on June 12th. We kept journalists, people of good spirit, kept that fight up, that advocacy up. That's exactly what we need to do now. We cannot keep quiet. We must speak against it. We must write against it, that people are dying. The government needs to do its work. This program is a good one. We continue to speak against it. That is what I advocate. We will write books about it. We will write articles about it. We will speak on 4 different fora to condemn what is going on in Nigeria until something is done, because something has to be done and done now. I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your comments. We are going to go, Auntie Yemisi, please go ahead. And after your comments, we'll go ahead and play a third video and then go into a presentation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jumoke. Good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, I'm not too well, but I thought it was this situation is so dire that we all have to see what we can do to end it and give some direction as to what can be done. I do not want to go into the ifs and whats and hows and whos are being affected. It's clear to everyone that people are dying at a rate that is unacceptable in Nigeria. And our children are not safe. Not safe in school, not safe in the farm, not safe on the road, not safe at home. And that should sort of tear at the heart of every Nigerian. Now, what do we do about it? Well, Mr. Trump can assist and send drones or do whatever it is to stem the tide of what has become a floodgate. But it is not sustainable, because he will do whatever he wants to do and he will leave. And it's possible that in another 5 years, 3, 4, 5 years, we're back where we are, because we have not put in systems in place that will ensure the sanctity, the safety, and the welfare of every single Nigerian. So I think we should advocate, first of all, that the president should declare war on the terrorists. That is a different paradigm, and it will change the whole strategic direction of fighting the terrorists. That's number one. Number two, I think we should go to all the governors and ask them what safety and security measures do they have in place in their states. We did a research recently, and it's only Lagos State that has a secure system for its citizens, where in every street in Lagos State, there are personnel they're not uniformed. I think they call them neighborhood watch officers. You don't know them. They're tied into a structure where they have access to the police. If they notice any funny person wandering around, they have levels of engagement where they will alert the police and who will alert whoever it is that should take care of the situation. So I think because all security is local, while we are taking care of this sort of the fact that it's gone beyond the pale and we have to stem the tide, we should look at how we sustain the security architecture. We should ask Mr. President to please sack anyone who has been given the responsibility of taking care of any area of Nigeria, whether it's a military operation or a police operation. And again, we keep talking of military. Yeah, okay, war, in a war situation, it's the military that will take care of that. It's the police infrastructure that has to be strengthened for sustainability. It's a civilian police system, or these other guys, I forgot what they're called, civilian something or the other. There's so many paramilitary forces that we have developed. They are Matekun, this, that, or the other. So there must be a more sensible, structured apparatus that would take care of securing the lives and property of citizens within the area where they live and work. The military cannot be anywhere unless we want to militarize everybody. Even the police cannot be everywhere. So we need an infrastructure that takes care of people within their locality, where they will feel safe because they know that if something is happening, they know who to go to, they know who to call to. You know, even in the UK, they have the neighborhood watch where you can call some woman who has signed up. She's the one that will alert whoever it is. She's the one that will keep watch during the night when everybody else can go to sleep. Everybody develops a system that works for them. We need to get back to the locality. We need to get back to the local government. We need to get back to the state and see what structures we are ready to develop to secure this country. Without that, we'll be talking about this for the next 20 years. That is if we still have a Nigeria that we can call our own. Those are my contributions. I want to thank Jumoke and Pastor for keeping the conversation going. But certainly, we need to do something, and we need to do something now. And while foreigners can help us for a bit, we have to find the solution to this problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Auntie. Sending you warm wishes. I hope you feel better. We are going to have Jonathan Akuns, and I'm sorry if I don't know what the prefix is. I know it's a DA. Please go ahead with your comments, and then we'll go to the presentation.
Thank you very much. The prefix DA stands for DA. DA is a
Thank you. Please go ahead, sir.
It's my second time on this program from the one of last week that brought Professor Robert Jestro. I want to thank you for creating the platform. Two comments. First, to provide a rider to a previous speaker who saw the Nigerian foreign minister saying only 100 and something people were killed. In Jos Plateau State on the 7th of March 2010, 501 people were killed within 3 hours. And the mass grave is there. And so the problem with us in Christendom is we need a greater sense of unity to speak with one.
Okay.
80% of what we call insecurity in Nigeria today is the pursuit of an ideology. It's not insecurity per se. The killings are in pursuit of an ideology. And so until we diagnose it correctly and bring out the historical strands that link or trigger what is going on today, the aggressors will continue to have a field day because they know we've not found or identified the problem correctly. From historical facts, in 1902, when colonial enterprise began to put Nigeria together as a country, a reigning monarch of the Fulanis in Sokoto wrote a letter to Lugard to declare war on him and to resist the colonial effort. That war threat is linked to their spiritual belief and that they have a mandate to pursue that and subdue every ethnic group to submit to their own faith. That became the foundation of what we're seeing today. Along the line, it has been amplified by other generations. Lucky enough, Lugard went to Sokoto on 20th March 1903, and he was met with a stiff war, but defeated them in that war. Elected a new sultan, installed him the next day, pursued the one that rose against him in war until he died in another encounter. So these are some of the issues that we have. Today, the Christian Social Movement of Nigeria hosted a press conference where all of these facts were made available to the public to see that we're not dealing with a mere issue as people think it's insecurity. It's beyond insecurity. I'd like to encourage this platform to continue to explore options. And the real solution will lie in restructuring Nigeria for true federalism. And true federalism is what will make every local community to take control of their local environment for security, for everything else. I thank you for the opportunity, but I just needed to make these comments in brief. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think we've been talking about, we understand the challenges of, well, we're beginning to understand more about these challenges. So thank you for that historical context, and also for Pastor Edward that gave an eyewitness account of what they are going through in the North. A lot of us hear snippets of it, and so this is very important. But in coming to this next segment is, what can we as citizens do? What can we as the Office of the Nigerian Citizen do? And so one of our members, Peter Eze from ALG, wrote a very long summation of practical steps that we can do to begin to keep our community safe, to change our mindset, because it was not always like this. It was not always like this. There were times where Christians and Muslims lived in the same compound, shared the same holidays, and they went to school together, brothers and sisters. And so this is a weaponization. So we need to change our mindsets. We're going to have Peter talk about some of those ideas that we as Nigerians can begin to do, because we are one Nigeria. Whether you are Muslim, whether you are Christian, whether you are Igbo, Hausa, or Yoruba, we are still Nigerians. Peter, please go ahead with your presentation.
All right. Let me quickly share my deck. Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Good day, good morning, good evening. If you're in Nigeria, good evening. If you're in America, I should say good morning or slightly afternoon. From all over the world, wherever you're coming from or you are joining, I want to say welcome to this very events. And I want to start by thanking the leadership of ALG for this opportunity. I wasn't planning to do this. I was just making my comments to a platform that I felt the discussion resonated and concerned me and the family I am raising. Auntie Jimmy, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Always, always. Big auntie, for real. Thank you so much. And I want to thank the founder, our pastor, for the initiative. All right. So the first question I asked myself, why do you have to do this? And the reason why I have to do this is the same reason why I do what I do in the environment and the circles where I find myself. I belong to a church that, sometimes I see certain things happening and I literally fight the leadership. Let me put it that way. And why I do that, I say that, I see a trajectory where the church seems to be following the shadow of the founder or the leader. And I say, wait. Our senior pastor built this church as a young person, and everything was created to attract young people. I think we shouldn't depart from that vision. And I'm saying it from a very selfish standpoint. I am just raising my family. His children have all grown. I am just raising my family. I want my family to experience that depth of spiritual intimacy, with God that I experienced. I don't want my children to experience the shallow part of what I experienced. So I fight those things, and I say, I'm saying it's selfish because of my family. And I also know that there are other people like me who are just raising young families, and we don't want our children to not feel attracted to where we were spiritually battered. And that's the basis for the little I'm going to share within the short time that I have. So I've talked to this Building Nigeria Together, practical steps for change. Now, I will say this ahead. Some of the things I will say now may not respond to the immediate brouhaha we are having. It may not answer to all the issues and then the troubles that we are dealing with. It may not. But I will tell you why I've decided to take the posture I am taking. I was part of the Lekki Tollgate NSAS protest. I was resuming there every day. The reason why I stayed alive was my wife works somewhere in Oniru. So I think that period they were doing summer program. So because the school where my child, our first son, is just a walking distance from our office. So she closes, she picks the boy and comes back in the evening. So the boy technically just sees us in the morning, and the next time he sees us in the evening. He doesn't eat. All his eating is in school. But because it was summer, we now look for a place close by, because there's something a mentor who is in real estate, Mr. Dijolojo, taught me. He said, where you live, where your children go to school, where you work should be, plan it around the same axis. Now, he said it then. I never knew that there was going to be a day that there will be a crisis and vehicles will not be able to move. Lekki Road was jammed. Nobody was able to. Everybody was trying to rush. Everywhere was jammed. Parents were crying. School buses, children were crying. Nobody could move. So I took a back door, ran, carried my child and ran back home. So it was going to pick my son from school that saved me that day. So I left the toll gate to come and pick him. And then my neighbors ran back barefoot. The wife was with one leg of slippers. The guy was just running, and they said they were shooting. I don't know whether I would have been part of it. So I understand that. But after that incident and the way everything played out, I knew that Nigeria had outgrown protest, the way we did that protest. And, I got an insight from the Holy Spirit. He said, you cannot solve this problem with a short-term solution. This is a perennial problem. You need to have a perennial solution to it. And he said, if you want to keep getting beaten with bulala, keep going. But if you want to do this, you have to have a strategic planning towards a solution. The guys who are destroying Nigeria, they had a 70-year plan. they planned it. Everything was planned. You see pictures where you see all of these people, they were on the same image, the same photo. So nothing, they knew what they planned for. And it's the same crux of people, whether it is the ruling class or the people they call cabal, who nobody had ever seen. So I'm going to be talking from that long-term perspective, okay? Now, what is the background to what I am going to talk about? My time is already, I'm already 5 minutes down. So I posted something on ALG, and I'm going to read the text the way I posted it. I said, we are all complicit. Nigeria didn't end up like this by accident. It's the result of our collective indifference. We've abandoned the country to the unqualified while chasing personal comfort, whether abroad or in our private businesses. Our silence and self-preservation have become louder than any protest. We've become a self-centered people, concerned only about our immediate families, with no sense of responsibility for the larger society. We hide behind blaming the government, using it as a smoke screen to deflect from the real problem, us. We've embraced learned helplessness and apathy, waiting for a messianic leader, whether it's Donald Trump or another president, to fix what we refuse to confront ourselves. We've embraced ourselves. But the truth is, no one is coming. Patriotic citizens, not passive observers, built nations like America, Dubai, Malaysia, and the rest by holding leaders accountable and actively participating in governance. In Nigeria, ethnic loyalty trumps national interest. For many, if their own is not in power, it's no longer their problem. And where their own ethnic person is in power, they will muster all the energy to defend the actions of such rulers. The mindset cuts across all three major ethnic groups and fuels the deep division, hatred, and bigotry that allow terrorists and thieves to thrive unchecked. If you are looking for who is responsible, try standing before the mirror. The generation before us, our parents, uncles, and aunties, unfortunately, they fed ideologies rooted in greed, fear, and selflessness. They told us we were the leaders of tomorrow, yet tomorrow never came. Power became their identity, and they clung to it desperately. From politics to pulpits, from boardrooms to traditional thrones, they built structures that resist succession and accountability. Even in retirement, they remain godfathers, pulling the strings from behind. The same cabal still run Nigeria. No names have been called out. No one has truly been held accountable. Why? Because they made questioning authority look like taboo, not out of respect, but to protect their wrongdoing. The fear they instilled in us was never about discipline. It was to shield their crimes. We've become experts at running commentaries on problems we were meant to solve. Spend 5 minutes on X, or what we used to call Twitter, or any social media platform for that matter. Most of them is even Facebook, and you will see passion, energy, and intellect that we channel into endless debates, criticisms, and echo chamber chatter. We've normalized dysfunction, almost romanticized it, because it gives us convenient excuses and someone else to blame. Instead of confronting issues head-on, we choose the comfort of commentary over the courage of responsibility. What a waste of life. Until we take ownership, demand accountability, and sacrifice convenience for the greater good, the cycle will continue. So the truth is that salvation will not come from a single grand sweeping revolution, but from the collective weight of millions of small, consistent, and actionable actions. It is about moving from being an audience to a cast of characters in the story of Nigeria's redemption. Number 2 point, starting point, it will be that no knee-jerk approach will fix this problem. Like I said earlier, we must have a long-term perspective to our solution. The people who are in power today, they had a plan for it. Tinubu took 20 years to plan to be the president. From the beginning, he knew he was going to be the president. So I don't expect any magic in 2027. Let's not waste our time. If anything, let's align. There is nothing that can change. It's likely that he comes back. Even if for any reason he doesn't come, which I doubt, there will not be any difference. But we must take a long-term perspective to this change that we are applying for, all right? So I'm just going to reel out a few practical steps from a Nigerian context that ordinary people in the country and the diaspora can begin today. They are designed to create collective power, not lone hero posturing. And each step includes how to make it accountable and measurable. My points are framed within the context of collective power and accountability. So the first one is practical baby steps for healing Nigeria, which is for everyone, whether home or abroad. The first thing is that for our mind and conversations, which is the software part, we must redefine our circle of concern. And everybody who made comments earlier just hit at it. We must consciously expand our definition of us beyond our immediate family to ethnic group. So when we hear news of what has happened, that video, that last clip almost broke my heart, because that woman that was running there, I could just see my mother there. How do you explain that a woman, an old woman, went to church to express her faith and can't come back? And she watches, I could hear the sound of those children, and at some point I couldn't hear it. I almost wanted to send a message to Auntie Jimmy to say, please, I don't think I want to do this. Let me just sit back, because it's heart-rending, right? So we need to, that thing, until we begin to see it as what happened to us, not them, we have not started. So when we hear those news, we need to make a deliberate effort to think, this is happening to my fellow Nigerians, not those people in that part of the country. Like the second person who made comment on the thought said, it has moved from Boronu to Kano, to Kaduna, to Ilorin here. Ilorin here. I grew up, I was born in Ibadan, so I understand. I know Ilorin. I was to get admission in University of Ilorin, but like they said, they did not give me the course I wanted, so I had to move to another university. So I know how close this thing is getting, right? I mean, I'm a Nigerian of Eastern descent, and I also know the fear there. That place is also not, it's hot and heated. Maybe the Southwest is even the place that is even a little bit, calm. It's hot and heated. A relative they were bringing a corpse home from the airport. They kidnapped the people, the ambulance, the corpse, and they demanded some millions before they release it. Both the people going for the burial, and they kidnap everybody. So Justin is getting home. He's hitting home. So it's no longer their thing. So for me, the practical action there is that we as a people must follow and engage with credible social media voices from other ethnic and religious groups. There's this young man, is it Bello, that has been voicing out in Hausa. He does his broadcast on Hausa. I heard one time he was arrested. I just hope that Bello made it out, because that guy, he's hitting it head on. And he's not speaking as a Muslim. He's not speaking as a Hindu. He's speaking as a Nigerian of northern descent. Voices like that needs to get support. So let's intentionally seek out perspectives on national issues. Lend our voices to shape the narratives the right way. With a collective voice, I believe it would have more steam, right? Step 2, that's step 1 under this. This our mind and conversation. Step 2 is the accountability pause in conversation. Before launching into the usual criticism of the government, we must pause and ask ourselves and our friends, what is our own complicity in this? What small power do we have in our sphere of influence, in our sphere to influence this? So it shifts the conversation from blame to responsibility. This is our country, remember. We can't, the last speaker, if I'm correct, said, we don't have any other country. Whether you are residing in America, this is your native, this is your country, right? The practical action there is that in your own group chat, whether it's family, friends, alumni, when someone shares a problem, gently steer the conversation towards one practical solution, no matter how small. Step 3, we must become a fact checker, not a rumor monger. Our problem is fueled by misinformation. Let's learn, even if it's just 5 minutes, take 5 minutes to verify a story before sharing it. There are simple tools that can, like reverse image search or check sites like AFP fact check, or there's one that they call Dubawa. Fact check those things before sharing, because sometimes people take images of protests that happened during June 12th. They'll come and share it just to heat up the polity. It's unnecessary. So for us, Let's fast check before we share. So in your group, be the person who says, I saw this, but let me verify before we spread it. This builds credibility and reduces the division. The second point is for our immediate environment, which is the grassroots lab. Again, I'm just discussing practical steps, almost like let's start from ground zero. So this may not address the problem we're having right now, right? We can form a 10-person accountability pod from your street to your ward to your church to or mosque, alumni or workplace. The charter is just to say, meet weekly for 30 minutes, pick one local issue to tackle in 90 days. And the accountability there is publish members' names, roles, and a one-page monthly progress update to a shared Google Sheet, right? So we need to take this thing as seriously. The step 5 is you've got to own your own street or block. All right, I have just 4 minutes more. You have to own your own street or block. You don't need to be a local government chairman to make a difference. Partner with 3 to 5 neighbors. Pick one local public good or project and commit one small contribution, which is in terms of time, in terms of naira or network. Example, cleaning a school, fixing a borehole, or monitoring a local primary health center. So the practical step there is start a WhatsApp group for your street. Organize a monthly environmental sanitation day. I know Lagos is serious about that Thursday, but it's not everywhere. Like clean gutters, clear drainage, then pull resources to fix a common, as little as a common street light or repair a pothole. This teaches you the power of collective action and direct accountability to your neighbors. And then, of course, the simple way is let's even create a WhatsApp or use an existing one if you have one, and then use that to broadcast receipts, to ensure accountability anytime money is spent. Step 6, the 10,000 collective power experiments. I call that 10,000 collective power experiments. So instead of giving 10,000 naira to a political thug during the election, your own street or estate association can pull that money, that same money. And the practical thing you can do, agree with that each household contributes a small manageable amount monthly and use it to 1, support a brilliant but indigent student in your community. 2, buy a transformer part. We know that transformer can break down, and one part that will cost 150,000 can throw the entire street into darkness for 2 months, and nobody cares. 2, 3, support a petty trader with a small interest-free loan. 4, one of the things this just demonstrates that your money can build and not destroy. Again, if you look at what I'm saying, it doesn't address all these issues. The people who are there destroying today, they started somewhere, but they didn't start with this force. They started somewhere. We are about, building a parallel structure, but we can't start it confronting them right now because they have a lot of things on ground, a lot of infrastructure. Step 7 is engage your local government council. They are the closest government to us. Most of us don't even know their names, and I'm also guilty. Right? We don't know their names. So the practical action is to find out their names and contacts as a small group from your own street. Request a 15-minute meeting, whether it's physical or virtual, to politely ask about their projects for your ward from the standpoint of how you can support, because it's a generation that doesn't want questioning them or confronting them. So come from that, then from there we'll build up. So that simple act of asking as a group, we establish citizens oversight with time. Now, for our political and civic engagement, which is the system hack, someone said, if you want to bring down a system, don't fight it. Build a parallel system. Over time, it will make the existing one obsolete. We can't do anything about what these people are doing. They will self-destruct. They will destroy themselves. It will implode. So we need to build a parallel structure that in the next 10, 15, 20 years will become relevant, right? Step 6 there is, of course, we've talked about it a whole lot. Get your PVC and go beyond voting. During the next election cycle, it's not just enough to vote. Let's step out now and volunteer as a party agent or poll watcher for a candidate you genuinely believe in, no matter how small their party. Protect your votes. And then for those in the diaspora, while you can't vote yet, your influence is immense. So use your financial power to support credible grassroots candidates back home, not the big parties. fund advocacy for electoral reforms. And for anyone, you can register or verify your voter details by helping 10 people to do the same. You know, after you register, it's just, yes, you don't do your own, but also help 10 people to get them registered. You can take a photo of the confirmation screen or note the ID and share it in the group just to show that the same thing, you know, that churches are doing. I think, you know, sometimes I think that we need to go and borrow from churches. Churches have modeled how to build systems for businesses and how to build a nation. Most churches know how to do it very well. When they want to do evangelism, they go all out. The same thing churches are doing. If you can adopt their model, not just call it a church, but call it nation building, I think we can go a whole lot ways. So I was given 20 minutes. I think I would, let me say step 9, and I will wrap up there so that I don't overstep my time. Join or support one civic organization. We can't do this alone. Individual efforts fade over time. We've seen that. But organizations have structure and sustainability. The practical step is pick one organization whose work resonates with you. Seraph, Enough is Enough Nigeria, Plessy, Budget Eats, Enough, as many, sorry, I think I repeated enough. Join them. If you can't join them, donate 1,000 Naira monthly. If you can't donate, consistently amplify their work on social media. This is called collective power, and that's what we need. Every politician you see is fighting themselves, whether it's Natasha and Akpabio and all of them. They are united. They all meet at the where the beer parlor or whatever they meet. They all meet together and they laugh. All these ones are smooth screens that we are seeing. Military, they meet at the officers' mess and they talk, they drink, right? So I think we need to create that kind of structure for the country that we love. Thank you so much. This is 22 minutes. I was given 20 minutes. I don't want Jimmy to off my mic.
Thank you. I'm finding you because you didn't name ALG in all this, your civic organization. So you have a fine to pay on that one.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But thank you for this presentation. And I do appreciate the practical steps. And it's not a conversation that should end here. It's a conversation that we should continue. And thank you for putting this on the platform and also for taking the time. It was thoughtful for you. I know when the original text you send is a few pages, you even have it in Pidgin English and in other, and you also have a sample workbook. So that's something that we are probably going to be charging you with. To how do we continue to advance this conversation and then take this practical action that you have laid out here. So thank you for your time. We do appreciate you, but I'll be collecting your fine for not naming ALG in this. And so we'll start with your 10,000 Naira fine. No, thank you, Peter. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I will continue this conversation. We are also I'm going to take the hands that we have up, but before we do that, there's a role the diaspora needs to play in this because of just by most diaspora communities have been able to influence policies that positively or negatively impacted their home countries. And Nigerian diaspora is huge. We are considered, especially in America, we are considered the most educated in every sphere of every sector. You find a Nigerian there leading the charge. So what happened to us? Why are we silent? Why aren't we able to rally support from the international community to have strategic response to some of these things that are going on? I'm not talking about boots on the ground. That's not what we are talking about here. But how can we also encourage our rulers to be more accountable and also just building that community of good governance? So I'm going to call on Dr. Charles Obin. He's the Executive Director of Nigerian Diaspora Collaboration for Change, NDCFC. And I'm also a member of that organization. So sadly that I can't pronounce all the acronyms. Go ahead, Dr. Charles, are you here? So if you can just take us through what you as a diaspora leader and some of the diaspora organizations are doing in response to this. Is Dr. Charles here? Yes. We've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. I'm unmuted now. Thank you very much. Yes. Can you hear? I take it you can hear me, right? Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'm unmuted now. Well, thank you very much, Madam Jumoke, Ms. Jumoke, Queen Jumoke. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You can also turn on your video if you want to.
Okay. Sure. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I've been listening quietly and I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation so far. And David, thank you for sharing your gut-wrenching testimony about what is happening in the North. I mean, any living human being hearing your testimony they will shed tears, I would imagine, if they have blood running in their vein. But I think we have to go beyond shedding tears to say, what can we do? And how can we do what we can do? And when can we do what we need to do? I think everyone has spoken very well. The action item from Peter Eze, those are powerful. As you said in your introduction, a very active member of Nigerian Diaspora Coalition for Change. And I think when people hear the name like that, change for what? We have as our chairman, Professor Adenike Grinch, and we have a lot of Nigerian diaspora leaders as members of that organization. And what we are doing is we are tracking what is happening right now, just like every other Nigerian is doing in the diaspora. We're writing a press release, making suggestions and recommendations on what can be done. And as we sit here, as we have this conversation right now, I think most of us know that the House Special Committee on Foreign Relations is having a conference. They are debating this same CPC, country of particular concern. And we all know this is not the first time. We know that the president of the U.S. Designated Nigeria CPC in 2020, but the government of Joe Biden removed that designation. And when this happened, we see a lot of our leaders back home arguing about should it be called a genocide or should it be called something else? Should it be called? Are people actually killing people or not? And we in the diaspora are saying that should not be the focus of their argument or the focus of their debate. What people are looking for is action. It's been what now, 21 days since the declaration of CPC for Nigeria. We have not heard any concrete, deliberate step coming out of the government of saying, we are going to do X. They may not have to announce it to us, but we want to see action. What people are asking for is responsibility by the government.
Well, Dr. Charles, because of time, if you don't mind if I cut you, cut in. Okay. Just in terms of the practical steps that the diaspora community should take to respond to this. That's one of the things that I want to speak to us. Yeah.
Okay, so I was coming to that. I think there are a few practical steps that the diaspora community can take. In spite of the fact that people know, I mean, when you did the introduction, we are one of the most educated group in anywhere in the world. That is a fact. We are one of the bigger groups that send money home every year, a lot of money home every year. But now we have a crisis in our country. What can we do? We need to have a united front. We need to come up with a united front to say we are going to hold our government responsible for the actions of whether you call them Boko Haram, whether you call them jihadists, whether you call them headsmen, something has to happen. And so we in the diaspora have to come together as non-partisan, not as APC, PDP, or whatever, to say we are going to demand this accountability from our government. It could very well be that we understand that some of the names, people supporting these terrorists are known, And so we have to tell our government back home, they need to take action. We need to work with the U.S. government, because at this point, it is the U.S. government that is holding our country responsible or asking them to come up with something. We need to lobby, because we know that's what happens in this part of the world. You lobby for a position. I mean, it's nothing to be afraid of, to be ashamed of. We need, if it's a ban on travel, if it's freezing their accounts, they have done it to other countries. Done it to Iran, they've done it to Russia, they've done it to different countries. Can the same thing be done to Nigeria so that the government can take action? We don't know, but all of these options should be on the table. But we in the diaspora have to come together and demand a collective responsibility action from our government. Right now, that is not happening. We think that the NDCFC can play a role in getting us together. We're going to be asking anyone that feels that this is the time for us to do something about this, we will ask you to join us in this crusade.
Thank you very much. So what I hear from you, there isn't a strategic plan by the diaspora community to address this just yet. That's what I'm hearing. Okay.
The diaspora as a whole, but NDCFC is working on.
Okay.
Yeah, NDCFC is working on something. And
so there's a need for the diaspora community to rise up.
Absolutely.
As a collective unit to address this.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate
and also
you.
watch your social media platforms.
We have a few hands up. We're going to take those and then we are going to begin to close. We are a little bit past the time. Okay. Can you hear me? I think my audio went off for a minute there. Okay. Thank you. We're going to ask Professor Grange. Please go ahead, ma.
Oh, thank you very much, Jumoke. Once again, we want to thank you and Pastor Itua for giving us this opportunity to contribute to the ongoing dialogue. I was going to talk about diaspora, but it has been adequately dealt with by my chief director of the NDCFC, Professor Charles. So I just want to make two or three comments. The first thing is that
keep it to so that we can keep to the time.
Okay. All right. The first thing is that in trying to find out the cause or the causes of this situation, we have to look at what happened to developed countries when they were developing. There was inequity. Those areas that got developed first in their countries started getting the backlash, or they were being bashed by areas that were not developed. So we have that same problem here. The south, southwest, southeast developed or developing rapidly, leaving the north behind. And the basic thing that is a big problem is education. Education, when you see that these jihadis are targeting schools, I think they've targeted, well, like 12 schools now. They don't want Western education because they can see that that is what is going to remove their power, you know. So we have to come to that realization and make sure that our government protects the education, protects the schools. I don't know what they have done, but certainly they haven't done much about it. Secondly, the issue of Christianity versus Islam. Again, I don't think that we as Christians have done our best in promoting Christianity in a way that will be more acceptable to areas where there is less development. There, you can argue with me on this, but I personally feel that what religions try to do is to ram down the ideology down to the throat of other people who do not share that ideology. And it's also there with Christianity. So let us again review the way our religions are being practiced. What has happened to the heads of our religious institutions, the Grand Cadi and the is it Grand Cadi or Chief Imam or whatever, and our pastor, our chief. I don't know I've forgotten what we call our chief pastor now, but anyway, they should have been meeting by now. But Christians and Muslims should have been meeting to find out who are these people that are trying to turn them against each other. What is happening is not a war between Christian and Islam. It is some people, extremists, who are trying to turn Christians against Muslim and vice versa. So those two areas have to be looked at closely. And based on that, on what we find, we must also advise our government not to make it worse by weaponizing these differences for their own political gains. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Can I have Pat's iPhone speak? We've asked you to unmute. And then we have Hope, and then we're going to bring this to a close.
Okay, thank you. I hope, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, lovely. My name is Pat Utomi.
Good evening,
sir. I first of all, I'd just quickly say something about what Professor Grange has just said, and then a few words. I think that Christianity did not do anything wrong in other parts of Nigeria. If you listen to Lamido Sanusi, who went to a Christian school, a Catholic school, and he talks about most of the educated people in the North went to Christian schools. Sometimes my friend Bishop Kuka wonders if we did not make a mistake by aggressively trying to proselytize those Muslims that went to those Christian schools. They just said, okay, get education, go. That perhaps if we did that, it might not be as bad as it is, but that's a side conversation we can have another time. To return to this whole subject, I mean, these days I don't want to talk. I feel like crying. I'm nearly depressed all the time thinking of Nigeria because everything that is happening today was easily predictable. Go back and read the stuff that I wrote 20, 30 years ago, you will see it. In fact, just 7 years ago, I wrote the book, Why Not? And it was really about how we are complicit. I listened to Peter Eze's presentation about complicity and all of that. I said that 7 years ago. I said this was coming. One of the reasons I think it is important to try and really study to get to the root of why this is happening is that I see very clearly how this, I took Enough is Enough is marking a big anniversary. I just did an interview with them to look at the concerned professionals on June 12th and all of that. And from way back then, I look at this ethnicity, for example, that's all over Nigeria, so terrible, people seem so much hatred. And I say, is this the same Nigeria I grew up in? When we started the fight against the annulment of June 12th, it didn't even cross my mind what ethnicity the winner was. But today, everything that you hear, And it was just politicians weaponizing these differences so terribly. Something that one generation back you would never even imagine could have been done. But out of selfishness, they have done it. I was just looking at the things going on right now. Fayose insulting General Obasanjo, was gracious enough to attend. What has happened to us is a problem of collective bad upbringing. Badly brought up people were allowed to capture the political space. And just that has brought us to where we are. So when we say character is important, values shape human progress, it is not just talk. So parenting has got to take its responsibility for how we got here. But to just close, if you want to look at it from how human progress has come, you will see that all these things, how they were predictable. I talk a lot these days about Carlo Cipolla. I was a professor at UC Berkeley back in the 70s when I was in grad school. And he wrote about human stupidity. And really what has happened to Nigeria is the reign of stupidity. And what is stupidity? Because of the use of the word, when you think, people might think you're insulting them. No. How is it possible for a person to be happy to see pain in another person who he has no benefit to derive from that person hurting? How? Well, even the most educated people can fall into stupidity. If I look at what happened in Nigeria after the last election, I saw it so widely spread and I couldn't believe myself. Is it possible this kind of person can think like this? When we look at living principles, questioning everything, we are more likely to escape stupidity and more likely to be part of a collective trying to do things differently. Unfortunately, and Nigerians are not the only victims. Around the world, emotion has been overtaking reason. And so for me, our challenge must be how to raise a new army of people who stop to question everything. In questioning things, they just may discover that, wait a minute, oh, because I heard somebody say this, Hausa people, these people, and we might escape this. Now, let me, and I'm not going to be long, sorry. Before Alhaji Ahmed Jordan died, just before he died, he called me one day. He was going to a meeting of Fulani International. And he said to me, Pat, you people in the South don't quite understand how big this Nigerian problem is. And he said, part of the problem is you all don't realize the fear in the North. I said, no. He said, look, if you were to say break up Nigeria right now, you can easily find a Yoruba nation. Crystallizes. We have an area, people who are majorly Yoruba speaking live there. You can easily find an Igbo nation. You can probably easily find an Ijaw nation. In the North, only 5 states have populations that are contiguous, so to speak. If Nigeria breaks up today, the North becomes war without end. This is why Northerners are more frightened of a breakup of Nigeria than any group. Then you add onto it the traditional struggles between the Fulanis and the Hausas. So the need of Nigeria is a deeply important one around here. But this is precisely what the Nigerian elite has failed to, in humility, recognize and work together to see that together we can achieve much more. We are safer, we are more progressive. But the Nigerian elite, driven by selfishness, the kind of people that were allowed to go into politics, driven by the fact that they don't have principles that they're pursuing, momentary advantage, driven by the fact that suddenly this thing called money overtook everybody. Everybody wants to get money. What they do with the money, you don't know. And then we really fell into collapse. My final word on this is ego is the enemy. How do we train ourselves to see something bigger than this silly short-term Range Rover and stuff like this that we all get overwhelmed by, so to speak? Well, if we don't see a bigger picture, it will come back to haunt us. Now look at all these characters and all they've been doing. Very soon everybody will be unsafe. But let us begin with a list of those. Everybody's talking about terror. We know those who are sponsoring. Can we get people to begin to put this list on the table? It's because people are getting away with it that these things continue. Let me stop here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay. We're going to take this last two hands. We are a little bit past our time. If I could have Madam Hope, and then we'll have Colonel Fadile. Please go ahead, Madam Hope, with your comments.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Pastor, for this program. Thank you, Auntie Jumoke. Thank you, Dr. Grange. I've heard everybody, and there's validity in everybody's perspective. But my point is very simple. My point is that we don't want to tell ourselves the truth in Nigeria. That's the problem we have. If we belong to PDP or APC or ADC or whoever is in power, everybody now becomes mute. We are not able to say this is wrong just because we belong to a particular party. We need to understand that fear and faith cannot coexist. It's either, yes, it's true that we do not our weapons of warfare are not carnal, but once upon a time in the history of this world, there were people who were called crusaders who had to come and try to do something. This is getting out of hand. The fact that, and we're having a lot of propaganda saying that we're not united, that is an absolute lie from the pit of hell. We are united. Nobody cares about ethnicity or religion or whatever. We care about people doing the right thing. We are divided. Yes, the North has so many tribes. Nigeria is so multiplicity of ethnicities. But guess what? All we have ever needed is the rule of law and the judiciary to uphold it. If we have a strong judiciary in this nation, it doesn't matter if you're purple or green or yellow. Where one person's right ends is where the other person's right begins. If you injure me and I feel aggrieved, I take you to court and let the court decide. So we need to find a way to get our judiciary to become more responsible. If we had good judiciary, if we had reasonable people handling our law enforcement, the rest is easy. And I just don't even understand why we as Christians, we need to rise to the occasion. We can't always be mousy. Yes, our Lord Jesus said we should be gentle, but he also stood for the truth. And he was a courageous man. Where do we get our wimpiness from? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Colonel Fadile, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. As usual, good job. All I wanted to say is to agree with my brother, Professor Patti Tomi. Can you and Patti Tomi help put this thing, his last word he said, put everything on table and stop the talking and do the acting. That's all I wanted to say. Let's act. Enough of talking. Let's act. He knows how they did it in the past, so why can't we do it again now? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you. I wanted us to play last video, but I don't even know if my heart can take that video, honestly. And I'm sorry if I'm being selfish, but it's been tough to listen to the accounts. It's been really hard to watch those videos and to know that this is going to continue. It is going to continue until something happens. And I like Peter Eze's presentation. That's why we asked him to present it, what we as citizens can do, those small changes that we can make that can impact our society, keep us safe, keep us closer, keep us united, kind of counter this narrative that has been out there because he wasn't so. Peter is from the East. He's my bro. He calls me Auntie Me. His son is my godson. And, you know, it has never come up that we are from different parts of the country. And this is what we need to go back to so that it's not weaponized against us. We need to go back to the fact that the Christians that are being crucified or slaughtered in the North are Nigerians. Apart from the fact that they are Christians, they are first Nigerians. So we need to look at them as Nigerians. Muslims are also being killed. Yes, there are collateral damage all over the place, but these are Nigerians. And what do? We talk about it. When do we start to act? And I call him King Charles because of the King of England. We're talking about that I've been challenging diaspora leaders. How are you quiet when Nigeria is burning? And you are outside the country, you have the power to make this, to influence some of these decisions. Why are we silent? And no one has been able to give that response. There's a hearing today in the US. I bet you there is no Nigerian diaspora group that is at the table to actually present facts. These are strangers, these are outsiders fighting for us. And we've taken silence because it's not my ethnic group, or we are comfortable in this home, this adopted home, and it is adopted home. So my heart is really bleeding today, and I'm sure everybody's heart is bleeding. And we should not be silent. This should be the beginning of us rising up to do what we can do as Nigerians to make our community safe, our neighborhood safe, and to speak truth to power, to raise our voices until there's enough noise. There are a lot of diaspora, there are a lot of communities. If you look at the Jewish community, the Israeli community, wherever they are in the world, what is happening in Israel is their problem, and they solve it together. Other groups are like that, and that's what we Nigerians need to do. So we are going to play this last video, and we are going to close. We are way past our time, but I think this is a video that we all should look at. And I also put Peter's presentation in the group chat. When you have time, please go through it and action some of those things in there. You may not be able to action all of it, because there are some that resonate more with you. So please take some time to review that. Go ahead with that.
First things first, your 2 cents on where we are right now as a nation. Weeks, if not over a month ago, has been one particular issue, one that was re-echoed by the United States and gave Nigeria's national security challenge a new perspective regarding the genocide claims. But beyond that, one thing Nigerians apparently agree on, whether people in government, people in opposition, ordinary Nigerians, rich Nigerians, wherever the categorization is that Nigeria has a security problem. How do you situate where we are right now as a nation, especially talking about security?
As a country, is very simple. We appear to be a country where we have legal and policy frameworks, but those who swore to protect the Constitution and uphold the integrity of the Nigerian state are deliberately failing to observe the provisions of these legal and policy frameworks. That is the bane of why we are where we are today, and this gives room for why we are where we are today. For example, you referred to the episode where the President of the United States drew attention to the fact that there were a series of security breaches, patterns that appear to have emerged, and some people were being killed. Now, for crying out loud, we suddenly had a situation where Nigerian government functionaries, officials of the president, or the president commander-in-chief of the Nigerian state, are now arguing that no, the number of those of that demography of the citizens of Nigeria killed is not as much. Haba. That is very sad, and I never expected a certain Daniel Bwala of all people to fall into that category.
That was a poor defense?
That was a very poor defense. Number one is for us to acknowledge that we were having security breaches. The loss of one life is too many at any point in time. And then we were supposed to take a look and take a stock on what we were dealing with. Now we're now having immediately afterwards series of security breaches. And these security breaches are happening in such a manner that is trying to confirm the politicization and the grandstanding that we have been involved in it. We just reported what happened in a secondary school. They entered into the compound of that secondary school by the provisions of the criminal and penal code. When you enter into a compound that is not your own and you commit crime, it means that not only have you trespassed, somebody was killed, a vice principal was killed. That is homicide. It means that you committed.
Hold on.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think we got the most of it. Thank you for sharing that video. So we are going to bring it to a close. Apologies from Mr. President. He had to step into another program. But here, what's the next step? We put those slides, but what else can we do? Is pray, fast and pray. And this is what it's happened people say, yes, prayer. But at a point like this, if we can't take arms to the bush, we can get on our knees and pray. So we ask every Nigerian, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a Christian, to pray for Nigeria. Nigeria is bleeding. We cannot shy away from it. Nigeria is bleeding. And, sometimes I worry about what's going to happen in another year, what's going to happen in another 2 years, what's going to happen to those kids that still have to go to school on a daily basis. This is real. This is happening in our neighborhood. It's happening in Nigeria. It may not be happening in Lagos. It may not be happening in Ibadan, but it's happening in Nigeria. And these are Nigerians. So we ask everybody to please take this seriously. Let this be something you think about, whether it's in your church, whether it's in your mosque. Pray. Pray and see what you can do to also counter some of this narrative. Peter's slide speaks to how we can help to begin to change some of these things that have been dividing us, because divided they say divided we fall, but united we stand. How do we need to start uniting as a nation, irrespective of our religion and our tribe. So that would be my own closing comments. This has been very, very hard. It has been a difficult time to listen to people speak first account of what they saw, where one man knows his entire family was wiped out and he's the only surviving person. And this is common in some parts of this country, and we are all citizens of it. I can go on for the next 30 minutes and I will not be tired of crying out against this horrible, it's not even injustice, it's evil of the first order, evil that we can't even explain, that is happening to fellow Nigerians. So please pray for Nigeria, pray for us as a people, and the diaspora community. Rise up, This is your moment to rise up and do something. You can't just sit back and be comfortable with your dollars. God will ask you. Nehemiah went back to rebuild his land. He was taken out for a time so that he could go back and build. Ezra and so many, we are not here for our comfort. We are here to gain and go back and rebuild. You may not be on the ground physically, but you can rebuild from here. And we are not doing that. We are too comfortable, but it's right on our doorstep. So this is my own personal appeal. This is my cry, and I'm going to keep crying until we are all going to keep crying, and change will come by the grace of God. So thank you everyone for joining us again this evening. We'll see you same time next week, 5 o'clock, just a different topic. And there's a form that we put in the chat room for you to get involved with ALG. Please fill that form or put your contact information in the group chat and we'll be in touch with you. God bless you. God bless Nigeria. And may God help all our brothers and sisters in the North that are victims of this horrible, horrible, horrible insecurity. Have a good evening. Thank you. Fire, you can stop the YouTube now. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to unmute you.